freight train known as the UK&I Skip Barber Racing School Series rolls into round 7 and Sonoma, California, where we're going to go racing here at Sonoma Raceway, also known as Infineon, also known as Sears Point. Join us after these messages and we'll get ready for some fast, furious action on, well, time to think outside the oval. Welcome to round 7 of the UK&I Skip Barber Racing School Series. Richard Whiteford here for Racesport TV, streaming to you live on iRacing Live. Joined tonight by Linus Brostrom as always, and special guest expert commentator Fraser Williamson, who runs in this very series. 17 laps tonight around Sonoma Raceway, and it's the Cup layout. So rather than seeing stock cars roaring around here trying to turn right, we're going to see Skip Barber racing cars here battling on a track that, well, it's small for stock cars, but it's pretty big for these little guys. Fraser, of course, we'll come to you first. You've been running around here testing. Just explain some of the difficulties of this track.
Curbs, they're absolutely dangerous here. If you catch them too hard, if you get them too central in your line, that's true with no front wing, which will cause you to be losing speed in a straight line, and that will cause you to be losing places. And at a track such as Sonoma, it's so tight, it's so narrow, there's so many turns, none of them are really great passing opportunities, and that's not what you're wanting for your race.
Absolutely, and well, qualifying is underway. In fact, well, it's nearly scored complete. We've just got the final few seconds of that. We're going to run through your grid now as the drivers have placed on the track. Humanton Ides will continue with a string of poles this season. He starts in first position. Adcock in second on his outside. Behind them, row 2's Tom Ward and Mick Watson. Row 3, Mark Turner and Clark Williams. Brian Walker and Jonas Van Verwerke. Row 4. Row 5 is Gary Tor and Nathan Davies. Press those positions up on your screen as we get ready for the green flag, Linus. Before we start quickly, who are you expecting to be first into turn 2?
I'm thinking actually Stuart Adcock, as he'll have the inside going up the hill. Then I think he's actually going to be able to hold it around the outside, but if Fahim can get a good start off the line, he'll probably hold it, but it's going to be tight. But my guess is Adcock.
Well, this track is historically difficult for standing starts, especially, or even rolling starts for this beginning of the lap here. Turn 1 and 2, it's a death zone. I don't think there's been an IndyCar race yet here where they've got cleanly through that corner, so we'll keep our eyes on the crash cam. See if anybody has a massive derp during the first 2 corners, but we'll have to find out, of course. Some guys out of position here. Adrian Bidwell down in P16 at the moment, and we have Van Verwerke up in P8, so that's a good position for him. Only a few more moments remaining on the clock before we go green, and we'll find out exactly what this is going to be like for 17 laps here. The weather, well, at 71 degrees, clear. A track temperature of 108, it's a pretty warm track. Pretty cool air, so expect some higher speeds than normal. Wind, west, 4 miles an hour. And speaking of wind, we're going to see if Stuart Adcock can breeze around the outside in turn 2 in just 1 moment's time. Lights are on the iRacing.com gantry. We're getting ready to go green here at Sonoma. Engines are revving up. The flag is waving. Green flag is out. We are racing at Sonoma. Round 7. 17 laps is underway. And well, Antonio gets the start he wanted. He tucks it in front of Stuart Adcock. That's exactly what he needed to have happen. And he will have the clean run through turn 1 and 2. Tom Ward returns to the series in P3 at the moment. He will be a challenger, of course, for this race. Looking further back, 3-4 wide going through turn 2. In the back of your pack, we had contact there. Tim Adcock and I believe that was Adrian Bidewell there. Having a bit of a moment heading up towards the hills. We do have an accident heading up to turn 3, Linus.
Not exactly sure who that was at the moment. But one car is upside down, and that's not something that you want to see. John Jenkins is involved in that.
It certainly was John Jenkins. We'll keep an eye on what happens here as contact between Tall and we'll get a replay for you there. Gary Tall and Tim Adcock there making contact, and then wow, John Jenkins is run into from the rear by the 44 car. That is, I believe, the driver of Dean Blumfield. And that starts a chain reaction where he goes across the track and then upside down. Well, that's a quick race for him. He'll be off to get T in the pits, I believe. But looking back towards the front is Antonides from Adcock, from Ward, Nick Watson in P4, and I believe that is Mark Turner in P5. Big improvement in pace from him, Fraser. He's been slowly climbing towards the top of the timing.
Yes, Mark Turner, he's turning into the new Fahim. He's slowly getting faster, he's slowly getting up to the front. And eventually, at some point, we'll see him battling with Fahim up at the front and creating a 3, 4, 5 car battle now.
Absolutely, certainly will. I was going to talk to you about the season standings, of course, but having some issues with that website at the moment, so we'll see if we can get that for you after the race. But Antonides is still in a strong position, of course. Major recovery drive last time out at Zolder. He managed to salvage much needed points after an early mistake. For him, Antonides, of course, jumping that start, had to pit.
We got a car in the wall coming off turn 4A.
We do. Can you tell us who that is, Linus?
Trying to figure that out at the moment as we speak. That's Nathan Davies.
Oh no, the man from the valleys has gone in a bit deep, it seems, and he's had a major incident there. He's off the track and getting repairs, so that could well be his race done. Looking towards the front is a big run by Stuart Adcock there, who's already lost his front wing, as has Tom Ward, so these guys clattering across the curbs here, Fraser. We talked about how dangerous they can be, and second and third have no front wing, and could this really impede them?
Yes, that's well impede them. It just creates extra resistance against the car, which these aren't aerodynamically tuned or anything, but it's just an extra thing that will create more drag, and it will make them slower on a straight, which, as you can tell here, there'll just be a drag race to finish like that Stuart Adcock won, so maybe that will prove fatal later on in the race.
It certainly might, but it didn't seem to really slow their pace down there. Of course, Antonides playing his typical safe game, Linus. He's trying to keep that car in one piece, would rather run conservatively than all out, and well, he loses 2 spots in turn 2 there. Best decision he made, or potentially fatal?
Well, on a track like this, I don't think you want to fight too hard this early, and he's smart. We've seen him do this before, dropping back a bit, and then right at the end he comes right back and ends up with a win. So I got faith in what he's doing, but he doesn't want to risk it too early, so we'll see what happens.
He certainly doesn't, and well, this lead group is 7 cars strong. Adcock, it's Ward, it's Antonides, it's Watson, Turner, Williams, and Ryan G. Walker there at the back of that little group. Then it's 2 seconds back to Jonas van Verwerke in 8th. He's qualified there and he's managed to hold on. He's sharp up from P11 to P9. He's chasing van Verwerke for the 8th position, Fraser. That car not looking as strong as it perhaps could have at this stage. Sharp might have something for the 516.
Yes, Keith has been known for being a very strong racer and very fast, as he showed in the last season. But he's making a comeback at Sonoma, so I think he's just getting back into the rhythm of Skip Barber racing.
Absolutely, and don't forget, if you want to keep up with the minutiae of the race, the ins and outs, every lap that matters, you can go to www.racebot.tv/timing. Keep up all the live timing action you want to see in this race. And well, we are going to have to try and keep a bit of a mental ticker on how many front wings have gone missing in this one. This is almost like the 2015 St. Petersburg IndyCar race where I think many front wings gave their lives in the pursuit of racing. As out front it is Stuart Adcock and Tom Ward leading the no wing brigade. Behind him Mick Watson, well, he still has his. Most of that front group do, so not many of the lead pack de-winged, or having their wings clipped, should we say, like a birdlings.
Yeah, they're going pretty hard on the curbs here, and that's causing the wings to get off, but you can tell now, by looking at the cars, just who's driving the hardest, and the back four are actually keeping up pretty well, even without draft here, because one thing we don't really have on this track that we usually have is draft, and don't know if that's going to play a factor at the end, but we'll see who can keep up and who won't.
Keeping our eyes on Fraser's teammate here, Bill Fraser in that 17 car coming through the final corner now. Not only has he got no front wing, he has a rather grazed nose cone on that Skip Barber car. Fraser, he seems to have been in a bit of trouble. I think this is going to give him a disadvantage as he tries to hold off Chris Malcolm behind.
Well, he said at the start, before the race, that he had a poor qualifying down 15th. Isn't usual where he is. He tried to make a move up into turn 1, lap 1, didn't work out, and wings and front nose cones were lost, and now his legs are hanging out the car.
Well, he certainly has cool feet, although he might need a cooler head at this stage. His side pod also damaged on that car, so the Tartan Warrior is struggling somewhat at the moment, and I need to find some fried pizza for him to refuel. But Chris Malcolm, oh, big jump over that curb there for Fraser as he will lose speed there to Chris Malcolm. Malcolm to the inside in that very Jamaican Skip Barber car. Makes the pass there in turn 7A, of course. Oh, nearly cutting off Bill Fraser at that moment. Gary Tall going to have a look as well as Paul Thurston actually here, who will be taking a look at Bill Fraser. That car's certainly struggling a bit more now, but the rear wing damage on Malcolm, Linus, could be a bit more of a factor.
Yeah, with all the turns we got here, back and forth, not having a rear wing is going to cost you a lot, and just going through the S's there, we saw a car going in the gravel as well. Not Malcolm though without the wing, that was actually Bill Fraser, but you really need your rear wing here going through these corners. It's going to hurt you if you don't
Thurston
have it.
went up the inside there, Bill Fraser, Linus, and Simon Maltby looked to try and take advantage of that one, didn't quite get it done, but they're all being chased by Adrian Bidwell there, so we've got a big battle here for the bottom end of your top 15, as these guys look to try and make their spots up. This fight goes all the way up to P10, so you can get yourself a top 10 in this little fight here, as these guys will come up to complete another lap on lap number 6 here. Looking back at your lead group, the front three have split away from your top 7. That's Adcock, Ward and Antonides, still pretty much running in line. Then you have Mick Watson, Mark Turner, Clark Williams, Ryan G. Walker there, who are running in that next group of 4. So we do seem to have pods here, Fraser, of cars, apart from Jonas van Verwerke and maybe Keith Sharp, who are close but not really running together. It seems that we have 3s, 4s throughout the field.
I think that's based on just what type of lap times people can do. The draft doesn't make enough of a difference to be pulling people up towards your lead pack, as there is a wreck down in your back, down in the back of your top 5.
Yeah, there certainly is. We'll have to keep an eye on what's happened there. Mark Turner, one of the cars that's off the track. We'll try and get you a replay there as, Ryan Walker looks to go round the outside of him here, running towards turn number 9. And he just can't hold it tight enough. And Mark Turner runs out into the car of Ryan Walker and pushes. He goes into the outside wall. Walker seems to collect it up, Linus. He might be able to continue.
Yeah, I don't think he got too much damage here, and he's still going in P number 6, so I think he's got through that all right.
Van Verwerke challenging for that position though. He wants to make a move on Ryan Walker with the time that he lost there. Walker going to have to try and see if he can collect himself together and make another run away from the 516 car. If he has any hope of keeping the position, we'll see how damaged that car is. Looking to be running okay at the moment, but certainly will have unsettled his nerves, Fraser.
Yes, and these types of things, they can slowly get into your head if something like that's going to happen again. But Jonas knows if he's going to make a move, it's got to be soon, with Ryan being a bit rattled and a bit, maybe even angry at that incident.
It'll certainly be an interesting one. We'll keep an eye on as it evolves throughout the duration of the race. Up front, Stuart Adcock there with Tom Ward and Fahim Antonides, who are broken away slightly from Antonides. Linus, our front two, whilst they have no wing, of course, in the front from aggressive turn 4 curb use, they are starting to pull a little gap here. And Fahim, is he playing too conservative here? Is he perhaps thinking more about season-long points and race wins? Of course, Adcock really is his only challenger at the moment. Ward 9 in the points here, so perhaps hoping that Ward will make a last-ditch run for a victory and get involved with Adcock.
I've been looking sorry, at Fahim for the last couple of laps here. I think he's pushing. He wants to keep up with these guys because he's struggling. He's sliding through the corners and he's overshooting entries by the looks of it. If that's on purpose or not, I don't know, but to me it looks like he's pushing and he just can't keep up.
That could certainly be a very telling story if Montanos cannot keep up with Adcock and Ward, but one guy who is trying to keep up is Ryan Walker, who's still ahead there of Jonas van Verwerke in P number 6. Himself and Keith Sharp there chasing that rather potentially wounded number 7 car. We see here as inside will go Van Verwerke as he will look to the inside for turn 7A. Turn 5, I think this one is actually. There's so many different corner variations here, Fraser. One track map will tell you one layout, another will tell you another, and people seem to argue about the number of corners we have here as we'll see if Ryan Walker can argue back at Jonas.
Yes, and I've been calling them 4A and 7A for as long as I've known Sonoma, so I'm going to carry on calling them 4A and 7A.
Absolutely, of course. Well, it is kind of technically turn 4. We do have that infield loop used in the IRL and long layouts, so it is kind of turn 7. We can go with that as Ryan Walker holds off a charge there from Keith Sharp. But we are going to have a quick look at second place, which is Freeman tonight. As he had a better run there through turn 11. That's one we can certainly agree on. Turn 11 as Ward pushed really wide there, nearly lost the back end. Antonides takes advantage and will sneak through, but he's also lost his front wing now, so we're at a wingless club. All of them grounded, as I'm sure they'll hope if they hit the turn 4 curb wrongly, unless they could all be in the air.
Yeah, that's actually what Nathan Davies did to crash out early. He went too high on that curb and just couldn't get the car to turn properly. So even though they want to go very, very high on that curb, they still got to be careful because the car will unsettle very easily if you go too high there. As we see Adcock locking up going into turn 7A as well there.
He certainly did. Maybe a mistake there from your leader, a number 52 car. Stuart Adcock having a bit of a moment, and we'll see if he can keep this one together. Of course, Antonides now mounting a fresh charge from second. He managed to get past when Tom Ward made a mistake in that 09 friction racing machine. But Fraser, of course, having driven this track in GT cars, in stock cars, I think these Skippys must have the easiest time around here, of course. They are the smallest, the track feels the biggest. Everything else, it feels like you have no room.
But the thing is, in the Skippy, it's one line through those S's, and if not, you're sliding everywhere into the dirt, into a tyre wall. And I think in a GT car, it's a bit more forgiving. You can brake in a turn without spinning, going backwards into a wall. So
absolutely, it's certainly worth keeping an eye on, of course, but these cars, it makes it seem as though it should be easier. They're a lot smaller, of course. The curb must be relatively taller, but the need to use them is very much lower.
yes, but yeah, I think because these cars also rely on the draft so much for overtaking, we won't be seeing that either. But the draft is still enough that Fahim's gained 5 tenths, 6 tenths of a second in that last lap alone on Stuart Adcock.
He did. Go take a look now. Adrian Bidewell in 13th. He's running at the back of his train with Gary Tall, Simon Maltby and Paul Thurston. Chris Malcolm has run away there in P9, so it's Thurston sitting on that P10 bubble, Linus. Battle behind him there is Maltby and Tall, but 3 yellow cars and 1 red and white. No one's really changing positions much here. They have gained 1 or 2 spots with a couple of retirements.
Yeah, it's like Fraser said, these cars rely very, very much on the draft, which is where we usually see a lot of passing, but with this track being constant turning almost, we won't see that many moves being made with the drivers being this equal. So someone's basically going to have to make a mistake, like we said at the back of that group there. I think that was Gary Tall who got sideways, and Bible is going to look at the inside, but he's going to brake early. He's going to make the move anyway. See, a little mistake is enough to make it pass, but that's all it
really
takes.
is. Yeah, Adrian Bidewell will take advantage of the mistake there from Gary Tall. Someone's been eating too much bananas and not focusing enough on his race car. But we got the inside running up to through turn 1. But that does give the inside to Bidewell, Fraser, for turn 2. If he can hold it there, he does not. He backs out early. We might see another run here by Adrian Bidewell. Cannot get it done. No, great defensive driving by Gary Tall at that time.
Yes, but this is on the limping Islander Bill Fraser to get back into this. he's closed up on them, then maybe he'll start to try to make some positions.
Oh, big curb hop there by Gary Tall in the number 207 car. That's what we're talking about, the aggressive use of that turn 4 curb really upset that car. He was almost on 2 wheels there. This battle with himself and Bidwell could really bring Fraser back into the fight here, Linus. Could be just what he needs to really regain the traction on his run.
Yeah, you really got to be careful in these curves like you saw there, and Fraser is really catching him, so just see him getting wide on the grass there, on the gravel, sorry. But he's starting to catch up, and the more these guys battle, the more he's going to close up. So, see, again, Gary Tall getting sideways, coming down into the hairpin as well, so Bidwell's going to go up the inside again, and he's going to gain that spot back. And this is bringing Fraser closer and closer, so he's going to be within that group in a lap or two.
Bit of a tap there from Bidwell on the wheel of Gary Tall, but it was wheel-on-wheel contact, no harm, no foul, Fraser. Just a bit of a, hey, I'm here, you can't close the door sort of message.
Yes, it's just remember I'm here, remember I'm as fast as you can't blame me about yet.
That's one sort of communication, not normally the answer we tend to receive here, of course, but as we're running now on lap number 12, we have just over 5 laps remaining in this race. Out front, it's still Stuart Adcock there from Fahim Antonides, Tom Ward in third. If Fahim can finish second, of course, he gains the points here that whilst the gap may reduce slightly for Stuart Adcock, it's not going to be enough, Linus. Fahim can pretty much finish second all season and still win this again.
Yeah, I don't think Fahim is going to do that though. He wants to win races, and I think he's really going to try to get the win here as well. Whatever struggle he had early on, he's sorted that out now, and he's going on point almost every lap, and he's going to be past Adcock within a couple of laps, I think.
Nearly an attack there from Fahim Antonides, Fraser. In fact, he will be looking alongside here on the outside. Not sure he'll be close enough to get a good run and hold it around the outside in turn 1, but Adcock looking racy all of a sudden.
I think Fahim's just turned on his game face, slowly just calmed himself back down into this, and remembered that he is Fahim and he knows how to just ease out these wins and ease out points out of these races.
Certainly does, of course. The different Fahim Antonides we've seen really since he became champion last season. He's been a lot more calm, a lot more collected, less silly mistakes. It's great to see a driver evolve like that, but with less to prove, he seems to be running a lot more consistently, Linus. That car really holding it together well here.
Yeah, he made a little mistake there though through turns 2, 3 and 4, and that let Tom Ward close up, but as you see there in 7A, he gets right up on the back of Adcock again, so he's really picked up the pace now towards the end of this race, and he's always consistent. We always see him up to the front, and it's great to see a driver with such talent. And with that Stuart Adcock in this, I think Fahim would have almost won every single race.
Absolutely. Apart from those races where Benny Samuelson turned up, I think he would have had a pretty clear shot, but as things stand, looking further back, it's Clark Williams and Mick Watson still running single file, not really close, not really far apart. We have the battle of Jonas van Verwerke, Ryan Walker and Keith Sharp there in 6, 7 and 8. Behind them, Chris Malcolm running away on his own, and then it's Paul Thurston, Simon Maltby, Adrian Bidwell, Gary Tall and Bill Fraser, who is trying to get back in the mix. Bill Fraser would like to finish hard in P14, but because he did qualify in 15th, Fraser, he's already up from one spot from his starting position. He'd like to be a bit further. Gary Tall, though, has struggled. He's down from 9th and running in P13. So quite a big drop for him. The biggest mover we have at the moment, Paul Thurston, who is up in P10 from 17th. As we're looking at second place, actually, we'll sort of carry on from this one. It is Fahim Antonides. Dropped back a little off Stuart Adcock, and he's in the clutches here of Tom Ward.
Yes, and as you're saying that, Bill Fraser's making a move round the outside of 3 here into 3B on the inside of Gary
does
Tall,
it?
and he makes a step. So at this moment, I'm still in front of him in the points, so I'm happy with that.
Absolutely nice little teammate rivalry there going on, of course, with the Fraser squared team. Bill Fraser moving himself up to the 13th spot there over Gary Tall with a very aggressive pass in turn 3, Linus. But really not going to receive, we don't really expect in the next few laps he can catch Bidwell or Maltby or Thurston. They're a little too far up the road. Looking back a little bit, we have Andrew Leach there running on his own behind a lap car. That is, I believe, John Jenkins. Alan Patterson running down in P number 16. He's on his own realistically. Dean Bloomfield, Lee Deemer, Dean Wallington all running pretty much solo. Looking back at second place, Fahim closer this time to Stuart Adcock. Good run through that hairpin. He seems to have got turn 11 nailed, Fraser. Really aggressively pushing now. He wants to try and find opportunities to pass in these final 3 laps.
Yes, this is to the point of the race where if you're going to manage to get it done, I think that's you in front, unless you make a mistake. Fahim knows that. Stuart Adcock knows that. It's who makes that mistake who's going to win or lose that race because of it.
Already getting inside the driver's head now, Linus. You're leading your Stuart Adcock. You maybe want to think about taking a more defensive line in places, but you don't want to give up the speed that's kept you ahead of someone like Fahim Antoniades. Fahim, he's certainly looking now as we come to the end of lap number 15. We're going to have 2 to go this time by the line, and Fahim is all over him. Just where do you make a move?
Well, we were here with the NASCAR iRacing series last season. I did most of my moves coming down to the hairpin, coming to now. And he's moving up to the outside. Maybe he'll try to cross over here unless Adcock can keep it tight to the inside, in which case that will be impossible. He does, but he actually brushes the wall as well, and that's going to hurt him a bit of time.
Certainly did. Fahim Antoniades there, Fraser, taps the wall coming off turn left and tried to go for a big sweeping run through. That car really kind of wanted to understeer there. Didn't quite get what he needed, but he does regain time here on Stuart Adcock. He's not going to have much left to do this. Only 2 laps remaining, of course. 2 more times through that turn 1-2 complex, which has been upsetting for the car, but do you think he has any real opportunities beyond turn 11?
No, I think that's the only place, unless Tom Ward knows he's going to just sit back and let Fahim and Stuart Adcock battle this one out, I think. But turn 11, maybe what I'm calling turn 7 or turn 5, the one after 4A, is
the one they're currently going through, of course, the second real hairpin on the track. But Fahim's been sliding a few times on this lap, Linus. That car really not looking happy. He's really pushing hard now. Desperate, and this is where we start to see an accident when someone is pushing to the limit of their control.
Yeah, he's going at it all he can, and he really wants to win. You can tell that, and at the same time he wants to stay ahead of Ward. And if he keeps making mistakes like this, Ward is going to be right there and make a move. And I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up to Adcock again. Adcock just needs to take it easy and run his lines, and I think he'll have this. But he'll have to make a move going into this hairpin on the next lap if he wants to go anywhere. Otherwise, he'll have to settle for second.
He certainly will. And well, your podium challengers have 1 more lap to go before we decide who wins this race. Looking like it could be Stuart Adcock. Antoniades in second, Ward in third. Who will challenge that 52 car? Clark Williams and Mick Watson, they're still pretty soloed out, but well, Watson is closer than he has been. Van der Verke, Ryan Walker and Keith Sharp running in P6, 7 and 8. Walker looks like he might try and move this time by on Van der Verke. We'll have to see what he can do. Behind them, Chris Malcolm being caught by Paul Thurston. Fraser could see a move on this final lap.
Yes, I think that's probably your best time to make it. Get the draft into, well, the slight draft.
Oh, a mistake. Sorry, Fraser. We had a bit of a mistake there by Stuart Adcock. He ran over that curb too aggressively at turn 4. He's used a little too much. And Tom Ward makes the advantage of Antoniades locking up entering 7. He will sneak through to second place. And, well, that resolves, I should say, the mistake that Adcock made in turn 4. He gained a gap with that little error in the pass. This looks like it's Adcock's race to lose.
Yes, it is. He's just got to... The only way he could lose this is walking up or spinning out or something into this last hairpin.
Then he is, but will Antoniades make a move on Tom Ward? Will he be frustrated with his error? Will he try and make a dive? Tom Ward looking like he will take a defensive line here. He does. Nothing for Antoniades he can do. Right on his back bumper here, running out of the final corner. A bit of a slap of the wall again for Antoniades. He's going to have to settle for 3rd place. Out of the final corner, 52 car of Stuart Adcock will take the win at Sonoma. Wine country will be celebration country. Stuart Adcock. Second place goes to Tom Ward. Fahim Antoniades will come home in 3rd. Clark Williams takes the 4th position, and rounding out your top 5, that is Mick Watson. Van der Verke holds on over Ryan Walker, taking P6 and 7th respectively. 8th goes to Keith Sharp. Chris Malcolm holds on for P9. Paul Thurston is your 10th place finisher. Alan Patterson, though, he is coming through. He's under challenge from Daniel Lee Stevens. Will not be enough. Alan Patterson will take P16 here, and a great result from him, qualifying 20th. Daniel Lee Stevens did qualify 12th, he finished 17th. Although he will Anyway, we won't talk about that. Not the wisest move to say hello to the league admin like that, Fraser.
No, it's not, but it was after the race, so I think Alan will just laugh it off and have a good time about it and joke about it.
Well, that's what Mr. Daniel Lee Stevens will be hoping for, at least. Well, we're going to go through the results now in full for you. Now we have all our race results complete. Stuart Adcock takes victory once again here at Sonoma, capping off round number 7. Tom Warden second, Freeman Snyder's third. Clark Williams comes home fourth, Mick Watson in P5, and then it's Jonas van Verwerke, Ryan G. Walker, Keith Sharp, Chris Malcolm, and Paul Thurston rounds out your top 10. The rest of those results up on your screen, and we're going to get the first of our interview victims for the night, and that is the driver that came home in P7 today, Ryan Walker. Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
Ryan, you had a bit of an error early on in that race, and it cost you. Well, no, it wasn't an error. Sorry, we saw you having that moment there with Mark Turner. Just tell us what happened.
I seen that Mark had lost it in front of me, and he got kind of made a mistake, I think, and I got a good run on the exit of the corner, and I was alongside him, and I don't know if he maybe lost it again and basically just clipped me, which sent me sideways across the gravel, and yeah, fair to say my heart was thumping really bad, really fast, sorry.
Well, you lost that position to Jonas van Verwerke, but you did manage to collect the car up and bring it home in the top 10 with a good points haul for you. Looking forward to next week?
Yeah, actually, what track is it next week actually?
It is Okayama next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that track, but I've always went well there in the official series, so hopefully I can maybe get a good result there next Monday, and yeah, to keep that run for a top 3 position in the championship going.
It'll be great to see, of course, and well, we'll see you next week, Ryan, and congratulations on P7.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to get a chance to chat to the driver who came home on the third step of the podium today. Certainly not what he would have wanted with a late last lap mistake into turn 7A. Team, difficult race today.
Hi, yes, it was a difficult race. I made a mistake, as you just mentioned. I saw Stu hitting the wall, or what looked like hitting the wall, and that got me excited, and I missed my braking point, thinking I'm going to have the run on him going into the last lap. So that's where the mistake came from.
Well, of course, you did have, we think maybe a top 3 car on this race, of course, but you didn't ever really seem to have the pace to challenge Stuart here. Tough track for you. Is Okayama going to be better?
The problem I had is I haven't raced. This was my first race all week, so I didn't get any track time in the official series to try and gauge what this track is like. The last time we raced it was 2 years ago, and I was a different driver then. I was just starting out, so it was like a fresh track, and the lack of track time showed. I think I had the pace. I think my qualifying was pretty good, but I made a couple of mistakes. The first mistake allowed both Stu and Tom through, and then I managed to get past Tom by feigning a pass into the hairpin, which put him off, and I think he went a little bit too deep, thinking I might be behind him. So I managed to sneak through at the hairpin, but then this is I found, obviously now I've found out it's a very difficult track to overtake. So I should have hung on to pole. If I kept it together, then I don't think there was much anybody could have done. That's the nature of this track.
Well, it certainly is tricky, of course. You did lose the lead in the championship to Stuart Adcock last week, of course. His 3 wins topping your 2 this season. It was only 1 point last time by, and it should only be 3 points this week. That deficit, is it possible to recover the gap?
Yeah, absolutely. It's still a long season left. Anything can happen. I mean, Stu's a tough cookie. He's a tough competitor. I mean, today he obviously being a bank holiday, and he probably didn't go to work, so he was that the fact that he had a few more minutes in practice than he would normally have showed through today. So hopefully when with the bank holiday over and him going back to work, I'll be able to catch up a little bit over the next 2-3 races.
Well, there you go, Stuart. You've been called out. You don't work hard enough according to Fahim, so that's we'll have to see what happens next week at Okayama. But thank you very much for joining us tonight, Fahim, and good luck next week.
Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye. Well, finally, gonna have a quick chat to Jonas van Verwerke, who came home today in the 6th place. Tough battle for yourself amongst Ryan Walker and Keith Sharp there. Pretty much the entire race, Jonas. Well, tell us about your race.
Well, yeah, as you said, most of the race consisted of a battle with Keith Sharp and Ryan Walker, and I literally couldn't shake him. And every time I thought I had a rhythm going, I kept on making little mistakes. I couldn't get in my usual pace, so couldn't get that gap I really needed, because yeah, I was stressed up and all tense.
Well, certainly a good result overall, and you were sitting before this one in P11 in the championship points. You certainly could have gained a couple of points in this race. You might well have passed Bill Fraser and be looking at the top 10 in positions here, which would be a great result for you. Do you think that's going to be something really look forward to? Is that your goal for the season?
That would be quite special. I've been out of the Skippy for a long time and making my return this season, and never really been a top 10 runner, but yeah, this season is showing the pace is there, and I'm happy to hopefully take a top 10 home in the championship. We'll see what happens in the future.
Awesome news, and thanks for joining us, Jonas. We'll talk to you next week, where hopefully you'll be up there in the top 5, on the podium maybe. We'll have to see what happens. Get practicing for Okayama.
We'll see what we can do. See you next race.
Thank you very much. Linus, Fraser, incredible race tonight. It's Sonoma, not disappointing. Any final thoughts?
Not the normal amount of action we're used to seeing, since we didn't have the amount of draft that we normally have, but still a good race and a few incidents and some nice passes anyway. And shame that for Fahim that he couldn't hold on to that 2nd place in the end, but I think best for the championship that he actually fell back. But good win for Adcock and a good race overall.
Well,
It certainly was. And Fraser, your thoughts?
yeah, I was about to say, well, the tagline is "Think outside the oval." There wasn't as much passing as in there is in an oval race, but the action, it was just as intense as in an oval race. This track never disappoints you.
Well, Sonoma certainly did not disappoint us, you're quite right. And well, we move on with the freight train that is the UK&I Skip Barber series. Next round, round 8, will be Okayama. After that, we only have 4 weeks remaining to crown the series. It's 3 points between your 2 championship leaders, Stuart Adcock and Fahim Antonides. Join us same time next week to find out what happens in the next installation of the story. Good night.